It's just a fan. And you realize how arts and culture pull people together and how they give people a sense of commonality. It's not just the common stories, because all this sort of stuff, all the myth we know, it's all, there's a lot of commonality there. But the sense of people working together in a community is just, it's just so enlivening. It just gives you new life. It's really fantastic.
Is this how, is playing music how you serenaded Elizabeth?
Oh, well, yeah, there is a part of that, all right. When
You write her love songs, play love songs for her?
Well, I don't so much write her love. I have done a couple, but when Elizabeth and I have known each other for years, politically, and we would see each other at political events, and we've always known we were simpatico politically, and we've always known we liked each other, because that was clear. Elizabeth tells me the first day we met was campaigning in Merritt. I was campaigning. She came by to help me. And when she was driving away, she said a voice in her head said, "That's the man you're supposed to be with."
No.
And Elizabeth does not tell fibs, or she just speaks the truth. So when she says that's what the voice in her head said, that's what the voice in her head said. But I was still dealing with the loss of my wife Siri and just not ready to move on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until last September 2018, that we were together again at the Green Party convention in Vancouver. And a woman who's now a dear friend, Sylvia Olson, really, just to make a long story short, said, "Look, you guys actually love each other. Just get together, And you remember from your high school chemistry that you can have a couple of compounds sitting right side by side, and they won't react with each other, but you add a little drop of a catalyst, and suddenly a reaction starts. That's what. So Sylvia was the catalyst, and she started us, and it was just boom, away we went. As soon as we had a conversation that was personal, not about politics, I just went, "Oh my God, you're like this most wonderful woman." And I'm totally in love, right? I mean, I'm way over the top. So when then we parted, because Elizabeth is working all the time. I came back up here, and we got together for the first time about 3 weeks later at her apartment in Victoria. Okay. And I took a guitar. Yeah. And I sang one song called "Your Eyes Are Blue, Your Kisses Too." I had to actually phone her, because I'm not that observant sometimes, remind me what color your eyes are. I think they're blue. I've been looking right into them, but I hadn't registered what color they were. So I sang her that song, and then I sang "Our Love Is Here to Stay." And she said, "No one's ever sung me a love song before." And I said, "Well, surely that must happen all the time. People must sing." And I've now learned from a whole bunch of women that guys don't sing women love songs. Well, I tell you guys, sing love songs. It's the right thing to do. I sing her love songs. And the reason we got married so quickly was because of the Paul McCartney love song kept on going through my head. They suggested I should marry you. So I proposed to her, and I sing her love songs. I sing a lot of love songs. Yeah.
How do you guys make a marriage work when you're both in this political realm?
Well, it's number one, we decided to get married rather than to try to date. If we were dating in this political realm, it wouldn't work at all. When we got together, I said to Elizabeth, I've known a lot of politicians, especially politicians from the West Coast. Canadian politicians who live on the West Coast spend unbelievable amounts of time in airplanes, right? Because they're going back and forth to Ottawa once a week, and then when they get to Vancouver, then they've got to go to Terrace or Kamloops or Sydney or wherever the hell they have to be. So the travel burden is just incredible, and it separates people from their families. People often say, "Oh, this politician's got easy work." It's the hardest job in this country by far, especially if you don't live right in Ottawa, right, or even in Toronto or Montreal, because you're always away from your family, and when you do come home, you're working 24/7 again, because your constituents want to talk to you. You've always got events, so there's never a break. So when we first met, I said, one of the advantages here is I understand that this lifestyle breaks up relationships. Politicians' families fall apart all the time. We don't hear about this, but they divorce, their kids get pissed off with daddy or mommy, whoever is in Ottawa, because they just don't see them. It's really, really hard.
But they paint a picture as like we're a lot of politicians paint a picture of our family life as tight and wonderful and perfect.
And if it is, it's because they work really, really hard at it. And because it is very, very, that's why, the person who didn't run for leadership of the NDP, who lives up north in BC, got 2 boys at home, right? And it's just not possible to be, no matter how much people talk about how joyful the families are, and the families are joyful, the amount of work that's entailed in making that happen is incredible. because you're just not there. So we knew that. Second thing I knew was because of my sister Margie was really world famous for years. So I'm used to being with someone who's a famous person.
Right.
And Elizabeth is a famous person.
Yeah.
So what happens is people will walk up. We might be sitting in a restaurant holding hands, gazing into each other's eyes, having a love conversation, and someone will just come along, stick their face right in the middle and say, well, I don't mean to interrupt. But of course they do. I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh.
You know, and I said, so I know I'm just going to back away because you have to deal with the public persona there. It's not like you can't be resentful of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I knew all that, and we talked about it, but I used to use, when I was in technology, a planning technique that was then called Future Perfect. We were talking earlier about having a picture on the top of the box that enables you to solve the problem when you're back here. So you can work your way towards something that you can see clearly. So the Future Perfect planning thing is about saying, where are we today? Okay, today we've done it. What happened yesterday? Well, yesterday was the press conference in the Champagne to announce that we've done it. What happened the day before that? You'll always work backwards from the future. So Elizabeth and I talked, and I said, unless we actually commit to a long-term relationship, this is going to be very difficult to do. Because just organizing travel schedules, I'm going to be going, when can we get together for dinner? Oh, maybe October 17th, 2074. It's just madness. So I suggested we take on a future perfect approach to this, and I said, let's just presume that this is the long-term relationship for both of us, right? People had said also, well, you got to be careful. Go slow on this.
Yeah.
I said, go slow. Do you know how old I am? There's no going slowly here. This is pedal to the metal right now. So we started with that premise, and then I proposed pretty early, and she accepted, and so we've been operating pretty much from the beginning with the understanding that this is a long-term deal. And now we're married, and lots of people, modern people, have said, why do you bother getting married? No one gets married these days. You have to live together, especially people in Quebec and others. And for me and for Elizabeth, the marriage means it's a capital C commitment. It means that this ain't breaking up. This is what we're doing for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So then suddenly when it becomes difficult, you just go, well, it's just difficult. It's just a bit of a speed bump. It's not a roadblock, right? It's not a deflection off the path.
Yeah.
So getting together and getting married was vital to allowing us to have a relationship at all. We talk on the phone every day, and we often think if we were trying to date or trying to build a relationship, it wouldn't happen. It'd be just impossible.